So Donald Trump will be inaugurated January 20th. It is fast approaching now. The American people delivered a loud and clear message in November. The Democrats have become too detached from the voice of the common American. Under their watch, the world is at war. Illegal immigrants are pouring in, all while most Americans say they're worse off than they were 4 years prior. Up steps Donald Trump, the man who will change everything. He will protect your women and children. He will put money in your pockets. He will cure your addictions. And he will heal the world. Oh my gosh, I love this. Can he turn water to wine? Because, anyways, before we get too ahead of ourselves, here are 3 promises that Donald Trump made on the campaign trail that he has already broken. Number 1, he said the Russia-Ukraine war would end before day 1. Now, here's what Donald Trump said on the campaign trail. I'll roll you that video right now. All right.
Prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. Quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order, and it will take me no longer than 1 day. I know exactly what to say to each of them. I got along very well with them.
All right. That was a great line at the time. Since being elected, Trump has not been as certain in his rhetoric. He went from saying that to saying this.
More difficult is going to be the Russia-Ukraine situation. I see that as more difficult.
When you say there will be
I don't think they should have allowed missiles to be shot 200 miles into Russia. I think that was a bad thing. And that brought the Koreans in, North Korea, another man I get along with very well. I'm the only one that does. But that did a lot of bad things. I don't think that should have been allowed. Not when there's a possibility. And certainly not just weeks before I take over. Why would they do that without asking me what I thought?
Certainly, those are less certain words, so to speak. He's talking about making a little progress towards ending the war. Meanwhile, on Christmas Day, Russia bombed a whole bunch of energy infrastructure in Ukraine. Deep in winter right now too, right? So now Donald Trump did not start the war, so you can hardly blame him for not ending it. But at the same time, the man should not be using the deaths of people to score cheap wins. That's just all I'm going to say. At number 2, Trump will not end the deep state. He will not end the deep state, mostly because he might have just created his own version of the deep state. Anyways, roll tape.
I plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all, and corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption, and there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every Inspector General's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. Doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
Trump is such a great campaigner. That speech gave me literal chills. But as I said in the beginning, Trump seems to have mistakenly created a shadow government of his own. On the campaign trail, Donald Trump promised he would drain the swamp and bring integrity to federal institutions. Well, here's a wild question for you. In creating the Department of Government Efficiency, is Donald Trump willingly ceding power to corporate interests? Think about it. So Trump and Elon Musk literally just engineered the removal of several parts of the bipartisan funding bill that benefit corporations. For example, the policy cracking down on the practices of Big Pharma. This policy would have prevented large pharma companies from manipulating drug prices and restricting patient choice in federal healthcare plans. Obviously, Big Pharma did not like that very much, so they lobbied and had it removed from the final funding bill. Now, the other really sneaky thing that got removed from the funding bill was a provision that would have limited U.S. investments in China, particularly in the technology sector. Okay, so you'll recall that Elon Musk has some business in China. About half of Tesla's cars are built in China. And speaking of Tesla, by the way, there's this organization that has been a thorn in Elon's side for years. It is called the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. In the past, they forced Tesla to issue recalls over faulty tire pressure monitoring systems, and have also been looking at regulating self-driving vehicles. Now, self-driving is a big part of what Tesla is looking to do in the future. We know this, right? So think about this. Since the Department of Government Efficiency would also be looking to remove unnecessary regulations, guess which regulations don't particularly work for Tesla at this time? Guess which organization probably needs to be defunded for the sake of government efficiency? Now, Elon might not actually do this, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a clash of interest. I don't know what you guys think. This whole drain the swamp thing seems to be going in the direction I suspected it would, to be fair. Anyone who doesn't side with Trump and his new cabal is an enemy of the state, and anyone who gets in line can do no wrong. Last week, we saw Elon Musk literally threaten elected members of Congress with removal from office if they did not vote against the bipartisan funding bill. Trump himself said the Speaker of the House would be removed unless he did as he was told. And Trump and Elon basically made a show of the fact that they have the members of Congress by the family jewels. I don't know about you, but this looks to me like the shadow government is alive and well. I fail to see how this is any different to the corrupt system that the Republicans have called out on the campaign trail. Also, I wonder if Trump is trying too hard to be contrarian. Yes, the people have returned him to Washington because they want him to clean house. As I said, they want him to restore integrity in federal institutions and to put America first, to heal the blind, that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. He's recruited some interesting people for his cabinet. Some of them you can kind of get behind, especially considering his mandate is to break it all down. But Matt Gaetz for Attorney General? Like, they literally try to give you Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. Someone on Trump's team sat there and examined Matt Gaetz' background of sex crimes and illicit drugs and went, aha, put that guy in charge of the law. Like, absolutely brilliant. At number 3, the third promise that Trump has broken even before taking office is his plan to tackle the fentanyl overdose crisis. Rotate.
Under my leadership, we took the drug and fentanyl crisis head on, and we achieved the first reduction in overdose deaths in more than 30 years. I also proudly signed the Support Act, the largest investment ever in combating the opioid epidemic. Sadly, under Joe Biden, our hard-won progress has been surrendered along with the surrender of our southern border. It's such a shame. Now fentanyl and other...
We did see this? I feel like we didn't see this.
So, first of all, this was a lie. It was a blatant lie. And let me show you a fun chart, since we're on this topic. Here's a chart showing the number of fentanyl deaths in the U.S. from 1999 to 2022. Here's 2016 to 2020 under Donald Trump. This was his first term. You see there are 10,000 more fentanyl deaths in Trump's first year in office compared to 2015. You also see that the deaths continue to go up every year till he leaves office in 2020. When Trump took over, there were roughly 10,000 fentanyl deaths. You see that here, right? But by 2020, you're looking at 50,000 deaths, approximately. Anyways, of course, under Biden, these numbers have climbed even more. If anything, it has been mostly steady at around 75,000 deaths per year under Biden. But think about this, though. Fentanyl has been around since 1959. It was kind of a slow burner, pardon the pun, but something happened in 2013. And we started to see more and more fentanyl overdoses. And by 2017, fentanyl had become the biggest cause of overdose deaths in the United States, more than cocaine, more than heroin. Look, fentanyl is a problem. It is a problem in the US. It is a problem in Canada. Trump previously blamed the porous US-Mexico border for the fentanyl crisis in the US. Now, though, he's throwing Canada into that equation. He says on January 20th, and I'm quoting what Donald Trump said here, he says, on January 20th, as one of my first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. This tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl and all illegal aliens, stop this invasion of our country. Now, this was Trump's post on Truth Social a little while ago, sometime earlier this year. This is classic Donald Trump. And in classic Donald Trump fashion, he is just transferring the blame to whoever he perceives as the weakest link. In this case, it's Canada. But here's an interesting concept for you guys. America is the drug consumption capital of the world. You guys consume the most drugs of anybody in the world, any country in the world. Every drug ring wants a pipeline to the United States because you have the market demand and you have the cash. So no amount of passing the buck can fix that for you. The drugs will find their way in as long as the demand persists. It's just a fun concept, right? But at this point, we know that passing the buck is basically Trump's MO. Like, sometimes it's immigrants. Right now, it's Canada for some reason. Now, to kind of finish off this video, I don't know if the next 4 years will be the golden age of America as Trump will like you to believe. But I can guarantee that there will be AI images and very boisterous, sometimes outrightly false statements to accompany you in those 4 years. Let's make something clear while we're talking about this. Canada will never be the 51st U.S. state. He's not going to take Greenland. It is funny to listen to, though. But you got to see it for what it is. Donald Trump is a troll. Anyways, speaking of Canada, we've got problems for sure in this country. But for how bad you think Canada is, we still have a lower poverty rate compared to the U.S. Our debt to GDP is still way better than the U.S. And before you mention, things were better under Donald Trump when he was in office the first time, actually, no. Even in 2018, at the peak of Trump's powers, Canada was still better on those metrics. And we've got free healthcare. I bet Luigi Mangione could have used such a thing. So you can troll us all you want, and we're all a bit pessimistic about our country at this moment. And things can probably get better. But you guys, over there in the United States, you guys got to stay humble. It's all love. We love you guys. Happy New Year. I'll see you on the next one.